comic book people of the world, it's Wednesday. I've been gone for the past week at Dragon Con. Really badass convention, especially for cosplayers. But being that it is comic book day, let's talk about that. First up is Astonishing X-Men issue number 3. The X-Men are stuck in the astral plane. And for reasons unexplained, Professor Xavier is alive. He's fighting somewhat against the Shadow King. And he may not be on the side of the angels at this point, but there's a whole lot more unexplained. Batman issue number 30. This is a Kite Man issue because for some reason we need a story about Kite Man. It's an interlude storyline that's going along with the whole war of jokes and riddles, and that storyline in itself was pretty cool. This one, not so much. The Walking Dead issue number 171. I have this feeling that the end of the Walking Dead series is in sight. The reason I'm thinking about that is there's a whole lot less walkers. It feels as though a lot of them have all been killed off. Michonne and her group come across a new character, and it just seems as though there's not that many walkers, and they're even yelling out trying to figure out where they're all at. Spider-Man issue number 20. If you have the name Spider-Man in your title, chances are you're going to have a whole lot of emotional issues and a whole lot of drama going on in your personal life. This is the case with Miles Morales, where both his parents aren't speaking to each other, being that his dad is a secret agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. and one of his bestest buddies, Gold Balls, who happens to be a mutant who can create gold balls. I guess that's the best way of explaining his mutant powers. But he's disappeared. Miles himself is going on a secret mission where, of course, things aren't going according to plan. I gotta point out the cover for this issue is really cool looking. I really like how it was drawn. Darth Vader issue number 5. Darth Vader previously defeated a Jedi and took his lightsaber. This issue, he has to make the Kyber Crystal that powers the lightsaber bleed, which some hardcore Star Wars fans are not a fan of how the Sith get their lightsabers. Personally, though, I think it's really awesome. I like the whole darkness of that, and I like the whole explanation as to why all of the Sith have the same color lightsaber. Justice League issue number 28. We start to get a bit more of a background on the future kids of the Justice League. We find out that Wonder Woman does have some sort of play as to what happens in their apocalyptic future. I'm sure there's some element at play that the reader is not aware of, but will probably be explained in the future issues. I am loving the idea that the future Wonder Boy is somewhat of like an adopted brother to Superboy. That's my own personal thing that I think is really great about this story. Superman issue number 30. Superman has been possessed by Parallax, and Sinestro is trying to get the Parallax entity out of him. He wants to enslave the Parallax entity and bring order back to the Sinestro Corps. It's a good little mini fight, although I feel as though it should have lasted longer. I've always wanted to see a huge epic battle between Sinestro and Superman. X-Men Gold issue number 11. The X-Men versus Omega Red. The fighting is pretty epic in this issue, but everything is cleaned up somewhat very easily at the very end. We do get a bit of a drama love thing at the end as well, but it's nothing we haven't seen before. Finally, I read Venomverse issue number 1. Venom Eddie Brock has been taken from his universe and brought together with a bunch of other Venoms from alternate universes. Turns out there's an alien species that has the ability to control symbiotes, and apparently they're very evil. I like the idea of having all of these different Venoms having to team up together to try to fight a common enemy. And being that I'm a huge Eddie Brock Venom fan, I'm glad that he is the center of this storyline. But that's my comic load for this week. I also read Iceman issue number 5, but obviously I'm going to be doing a separate video on that title, being that I love it so much. But what did you guys get? Leave comments down below and let me know. And with that, thank you guys for joining me in this video. If you haven't done it yet, check out my Patreon site, check out my social media sites, check out my websites, and everything else out there. Peace, love, namaste, and I'll see you guys later. Peace. I read the first issue to the Captain Phasma Road to Star Wars Episode 8, and it was pretty darn awesome, but it was really just a rehash as to how Captain Phasma escaped at the very end of Episode 7, which I think is pretty cool, but I really would have liked the idea to see maybe the origin of Captain Phasma. That, I think, would have been badass.